Hey there, so in a previous video, we talked about why Chihuahuas sometimes exhibit behavior that makes them look like they're angry. Um, and that behavior that they're exhibiting is usually fear, overwhelm, or loss of control, rather than what humans would actually really put down as anger, because anger is a chosen behavior, and dogs are not going to be inclined to choose that from a repertoire of things to do because I just don't really have the emotional capacity. So today I want you to talk about something as equally important is what you should actually do if you are trying to manage a dog in this emotional headspace. Now, rescues are actually full of dogs or chihuahuas with really, really extreme behavior issues. And I think just this week, I've had a couple of conversations with people who have taken on dogs that are displaying really extreme behavior issues. And you've got to ask yourself, what has happened to that dog from the time it was a puppy to the time it's like 2 years old, that it's now completely psychotic? And a lot of that is down to how the dog is being handled and what training has been imposed on it in order to overcome your chihuahua's anger. Now, often examples, people are told to do things like, well, you need to tell the dog off, you need to dominate your dog, you need to force them and handle them and just get on with it, or pick them up and restrain them. And this is how people are told to handle or how to deal with their angry chihuahua. Just basically overpower them and show them who's boss. And apparently, then they're going to get used to it. But really, what we're seeing with the amount of dogs in rescues and the amount of dogs that I end up dealing with is that is not what is happening, and that is not having the effect that people want to have. And all the dog is doing is literally escalating through the ladder of communication. It's not even bothering with the bottom rung of whispering that they don't want this to happen. They are just going out and out straight to barking, lunging, and biting, which is right at the top of the ladder. So the dog has now learned that there is no point in going, I'm not sure about this, because they're just going to be pushed into it anyway. So they just might as well come out swinging. And as I keep saying to you, dogs learn something whether you want them to or not. And if that learning is, it doesn't matter how I feel about it, they're going to do it anyway, then the dog just learns to defend themselves. Then they learn to become worried about your movement, and then they learn to start defending themselves at the prediction of something bad happening, which might not be anything at all. It just might be you going to stroke your dog. It might just you going to give them a treat. It might just be you walking past their bowl. But because the dog has previously just constantly gone to the top of the ladder of communication with no one listening to anything it says, it predicts that something is going to happen that it doesn't like, and it instantly comes out swinging to defend itself. It's got nothing to do with the dog is trying to dominate you. It's got nothing to do with the dog is trying to show you who's boss. It's just a dog that is stuck in this behavior loop of high arousal, anxiety, and stress, and it is constantly worried about what is going to happen next. So, our goal here isn't to control the dog into compliance. Okay. The goal is to change how our dog feels about what it's seeing and what is happening to it. Most dogs that are or appear to be angry are really experiencing fear, overwhelm, frustration, and complete lack of control. Their nervous system is completely overwhelmed and they are very firmly in the flight or flight part of their brain's system. They are thinking with their amygdala. So behavior will follow a ladder. Starts with doing nothing, maybe freezing, with growling, with snapping, with biting. These are all communications that our dog is giving us. And when a dog is biting and lunging, these communications have been ignored. So when our dog is behaving like this, they're really asking for space. They're really going, I don't like what is happening to me, or I don't like what I think is going to happen to me. And they are just signaling in the only way how, with the only skills that they now have, that they don't want whatever is going to happen next. So what do you do if you are trying to undo this damage? What do you do if you've taken on a dog that is displaying these behaviors? Now, as ever, all I can do is give you some general advice because when I do a behavior consultation, I will take a lot of information about your dog, about their health, about their situation, about their routine, and then I will work with you to put a program together for them. But obviously, I don't know anything about your dog. So all I can do is give you some general tips. And if you do want to book a one-to-one behavior consultation and work with me directly, I will put the link in the show notes below. But the first thing we need to think about when we have a dog like this is reducing the pressure, taking the pressure off the dog, giving the dog a chance to for their arousal level to come down. Because quite often owners will escalate unintentionally, but they will escalate the situation by leaning over the dog, grabbing the dog, constantly touching them, or maybe cornering them. And the dog feels frustrated, it feels anxious, and it feels the need to defend itself. So we start to take the pressure off. We will soften our body language. We will bring the energy level down. We will step back. We will reduce eye contact. We will allow the dog some space. The dog's space is a really powerful way to help reduce the stress that your dog is feeling. The next thing to do is to, whatever it is you're doing to your dog that or has been done to your dog prior to you getting them, we need to make sure does not happen again. That could be whatever training methods you're using. So if you're squirting the dog with water or the dog has been squirted by a previous owner, or if you're smacking the dog on the nose, or if you're using domination tactics, or you're shouting, or you're doing any of these things which are floating around the internet while people are telling you that you need to dominate your dog and get the dog under control, we are going to stop that because they are crushing your dog's confidence. They are totally obliterating any optimism that your dog that may have, and is putting them in a permanent pessimistic mindset, which isn't good for them, is not going to help them learn to trust you or trust the environment. So the first thing we need to do is make sure that whatever has happened to them before is not going to happen to them again. So whatever training methods that have been employed must never be employed again. Now, the next thing we also need to do is just to leave the dog alone and give the dog an opportunity to empty its emotional bucket and leave the dog alone to the point that we are not interacting with them. We are letting the dog just chill out. We are going to not be picking the dog up. We're not, if we, and then that includes not being able to put a harness on the dog, then so be it. The dog doesn't go out for a walk because that's probably overstimulating for them at this stage anyway. Whatever it is that the dog does not like and feels the need to defend themselves from, you are going to stop doing. We are going to give the dog some space. We are going to stop handling them. We're going to give the dog the opportunity to come to you. We're going to employ this consent-based handling where instead of grabbing the dog and picking them up or insisting on a cuddle or insisting on petting them, we give the dog the opportunity to say yes or no. We give them the opportunity to opt in or not and choose to come to you, and they will. Quite often people go, oh, if I don't pick my dog up, then I'll never get the chance to cuddle it again. That's not how it works. You are just giving your dog the choice to come to you for a cuddle, or feel confident in coming close to you and not having to worry about being manhandled when they do. Understanding the ladder of communication is really helpful here. So you can actually see what your dog is experiencing by their body language, and you can start interpreting how your actions make your dog feel. So, for instance, you go to pick your dog up and they don't interact with you, does nothing, is the bottom step of the communication, the ladder of communication. If they don't come into you for that pickup, then they don't want to be picked up. They're saying no. So if you start to understand the ladder of communication, that turning away, moving away, going stiff are all no's, you start to give your dog the confidence that what they're communicating to you is being noticed. So for our dog that is angry, okay, they are probably in a very pessimistic mindset. Like us, dogs can be pessimistic, they can be optimistic. If a dog is feeling pessimistic, it's constantly worried about what is going to happen next. Its body is going to be tight, its muscles are going to be tight, it is going to be constantly kind of wound up, if you like a clock spring. What we want is we want movement. What we want is optimism. What we want is smooth body language. So we're going to start to introduce games that build tiny easy wins for our dog, that build a little bit of optimism, a little bit of, oh, that was good, oh, that was good, that create movement, that undo this stiffness that our dog is feeling. So little food flick games where the dog is chasing food, and that's joyful. Oh, look at that, I got something there. Oh, look at that, I got something there. So lots of tiny little easy wins that again teach the dog a little bit of optimism, but also start to teach you, the dog, that the fun comes from you. So they start to grow this bond with you rather than have a bond of, oh, don't know what's going to happen next, is, oh, something great is going to happen here. And that's what we're looking to build, these little spikes of dopamine that teach our dog curiosity is okay, that that rewarding that when you're rewarding, you're growing value. Sorry, it didn't come out very well, but I hope you know what I mean. So little food flicks and scatter games and calming games with our food mat that grow optimism. We can also introduce little movement games like teaching your dog a nice, easy spin. A spin is a lovely game because it's a stretch out down the side. Quite often, dogs that are pessimistic and tense will be stressed, will have tight muscles. We want to stretch these out again. So, teaching a joyful little spin to your dog, not only is that a fun thing for them to do, that helps build your bond, but it also stretches them out and gets movement. And movement is key for a dog because a dog that's still, it's quite often the dogs whose anxiety is moving up through the ladder of communication. Another important thing to do if our dog is in this angry headspace is we start to advocate for our dog, and we do not let people persuade us to put the dog into situations that the dog clearly doesn't have the skills for. Can I touch your dog? No. Okay, because my dog really doesn't like that. And then you'll get, it's all right, all dogs love me, and I don't mind if I get bitten, but it is not about the person, it's about the dog. Okay, you are, again, if someone is coming up to your dog and your dog doesn't want that interaction, it doesn't matter if the other person gets bitten. We don't care about them. What we don't want to do is rehearse the thinking that your dog has that they need to defend themselves. So the first thing we're doing is we're putting on our big pants, if you like, and we're saying no on our dog's behalf. We're not putting our dog into situations that they don't have the skills for, situations that they don't want, and situations that have constantly rehearsed the anxiety around interactions with other people, other dogs, or whatever. Your dog needs to start to learn that when they're out in the environment, you are the focus of their world, and they do not need to worry about anything else. Now, when we have a dog that is angry or stressed and anxious, which is really what our anger is, if it's been doing this for some time, we are not going to see overnight changes. It is going to take time to rewire those neural pathways, because that's what behavior is. It's a neural pathway in the dog's brain. And what we want to do is we want to shut those neural pathways down, and we want to grow new ones and new behaviors and new optimistic behaviors. So the neural pathway that says when that person moves, there's a danger that I need to react to. We want to grow a neural pathway that says when that person moves, it's none of my business. It's nothing to worry about. And that can take time. And every time our dog is reacting by snapping or growling, the dog is rehearsing the responses that we don't want. Every time our dog is doing something that is, oh, this is good, oh, this is nice, then we're growing that neural pathway that is optimistic, that your hand doesn't mean that there's a danger, or that you moving doesn't mean that they need to guard what they've got. So we need to think this is a long-term behavior change. So we just need to be prepared to put the time in. It's not going to be an overnight change. It's not going to be a 2-minute thing. Rehabilitating a dog that is angry and unhappy takes time, and it takes a lot of patience, and quite often it takes a lot of skill. And if you do have an issue and you do want a guided approach, then do feel free to contact me and let's explore a one-to-one behavior transformation where I can support you and help you change your Chihuahua's mindset and help you grow an optimistic dog. So our takeaway here, as ever, is we need to reduce the pressure on our dog by changing whatever it was that is causing the issues in the first place. We need to start respecting our dog's space and building a more consent-based approach to handling our dog. And then we need to build confidence through positive training games by growing optimism and by changing our dog's emotional state. Um, I hope you found this video useful. As ever, could you give us a thumbs up? Could you subscribe to our channel, as it helps us spread the positive Chihuahua training message. It helps us in a really small way, I guess, to help keep so many of these dogs out of rescues because they are handed in for behavior reasons. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments below and I'll get back to you. And I look forward to speaking with you again soon. You take care now.